It's ones and spinning and casting cranks through lay downs and grass fields, and the river's trying to get the bass to bite. That gets me on the water in all different kinds of weather. That the river just keeps tackling on my mind. Welcome back to Tackle on My Mind. What's on my mind today? Tournament recap. If you joined a couple of my videos last week, you know I was doing kind of a breakdown of what I was going to be using at our Toledo area Kayak Anglers League Stage 1 event at Nettle Lake up in Northwest Ohio. I did a video of my rod and reel, my kayak setup, and then I did another one on all the baits I was going to try to use, see if I can find some fish and do well in that tournament. So got to Nettle Lake early that morning, drove through some thick fog to get there, but once we got there, kind of did a quick assessment of the lake just looking out at it. There's no wind at all. That was crazy. It's a beautiful morning. Saw some lily pad fields coming up already, all over the place. So I kind of thought, well, let's hit those. I had an area in mind, got to that area, there was no one on it yet. It's a nice little stretch of lily pads, some laydowns in there, some deep water adjacent to it, some more shallow water. Tried fishing that area for quite a while in the morning to nothing. Did not get a bite. So kind of thinking, well, let's try something different. We did have a storm the night before. Maybe that's kind of shutting down the fish. Maybe they went a little bit deeper. So let's try some deep water. I know there's some deep water holes at Nettle Lake, and the breeze started picking up just a little bit, which always kind of helps. I like that because it puts a little, disturbance on the water. Plus, I like to drift across certain spots. So I tied on my trusty old Booyah red lipless crankbait, one knocker, 1/2 ounce tiger craw color. You can see this thing is beat up. I've used this a lot this year and probably even a little bit last year. Still a big fish catcher. So I went out and tried some deep water, used some yo-yo technique on that, used some straight retrieves where it started to get a little shallower. Again, nothing. That drift then started bringing me into some really shallow water, really like 4 foot and under, up along the bank. There's some boat docks there and some isolated lily pads in this one little stretch. Still had that one knocker tied on. So I said, what the heck, let's throw that over that isolated lily pad field right there. Just, probably like 3 or 4 of them. Got one. Small one, 11 inch. So we need 12 inches to be scoreable, 12 and up to be scoreable for our Toledo Area Kayak Anglers League for tackle. This one was too small, but I was on to something maybe. Tried that, throwing that around a little bit, this lipless. It's kind of that same area. I caught a couple nice little small ones again. Even smaller, one was again that 11 inch size. I'm thinking, well, maybe there'll be a bigger one here. Eventually, kind of fished that area, didn't find nothing, threw a wacky rig in there for a little bit, no luck. So I kind of moved around a little bit, went around the corner, kept going, got a little bit shallower water, didn't really want to throw my lipless in there. There's a little creek channel. I said, well, let's tie on something different. So there I went to that Z-Man chatterbait. This is the Evo 3/8 ounce. This is their Bama Bream. Trailer I put on there is that Hog Farmer Spunk Shad 4.5 inch. This is green pumpkin chartreuse. I like that chartreuse color in there. It gives a little bit of flash, little color in the water. We had a little bit of stained water. Thought maybe that'll help a little bit, plus that little sparkle in that skirt. And this little sparkle on that head that you can see. Really like this. Threw that around a little bit down that channel. Caught a couple more small fish. Kind of worked that area a little bit. Starting to get a little bit closer to lines out time, which was noon for us. I knew there was another small, just little channel. It wasn't a creek channel, it's just a little channel that kind of goes back right next to the boat ramp. I said, I'm gonna get back there, I'm gonna try that. When I got there, there's an angler in there. He was just kind of coming out. I talked to another angler that was kind of sitting in that area. He said he saw fishermen go in there. None of them caught anything. I said, well, what have I got to lose? Went in there, threw that chatterbait around a little bit more. caught another one, again, too small, tried to fish that area. So I was able to find the fish. Most of them caught on that chatterbait. Hi, River. My big old dog River's right here. I don't know if you can see him. Go lay down. Again, fishing that chatterbait, that's where I caught the majority of my fish on. Just couldn't find anything big enough. Overall, the tournament, that seemed to be kind of a theme going all around, that a lot of fish were caught, but a lot of them in that 10 to 11 inch range. So maybe in a couple years when we come back, they'll be a little bit bigger. A little bit more about my setup. So I threw that chatterbait on my Dobbins. I gotta make sure, yep, on that Dobbins Caden 735 crankbait. That's 7 foot 3 inch medium heavy crank, moderate action in there, crankbait rod with my Ardent Apex Elite reel, 7:3 to 1 gear ratio on that, and that had a Seaguar and Vizex line on there, 15 pound. That Booyah One Knocker, I threw that on my Ardent Elite series rod. That's a 7.6 medium heavy moderate action rod. Also, I like that for those lipless crankbaits that I've told you about. That I also had paired up with that Ardent Apex Elite 7.3 to 1, and this one I have that 15 pound Iserline copolymer on there. So those were my two setups I caught fish for me. Just didn't catch anything big enough. You know, that's how it goes sometimes. We got a couple more tournaments coming up this next week. Next Wednesday, May 15th, we got one that covers, it's our Wednesday nighter. We get about 4 hours on the water. This one set up, we got 4 different bodies of water like we like to fish. Looking into it, it's kind of dependent on the wind. I like one of the bodies a little bit better than the rest, but depending on the way the wind's blowing, it tends to shut down if you get a certain wind and just can't find the fish very well. The other ones fish fairly similar, kind of, you know, we'll see. So wish me luck on that. Thanks for joining me again. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like content, share the video, and I'll be back to you again. Thanks for joining.